Discussion on verses 1 to 15 of 15. This chapter opens by directing attention to remarkable features of creation, encouraging reflection upon signs that clearly demonstrate the oneness of Allah, the Exalted, and affirm that He alone is deserving of obedience at all times. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 1.
By the sun and its brightness.
The sun is a profound sign of precise design, balance, and continuous regulation. Its distance from the earth is perfectly measured. Even the slightest alteration would make life impossible. If it were marginally closer, the resulting heat would scorch the earth, evaporate water sources, and destroy ecosystems. If it were slightly further away, the earth would freeze, halting all forms of life. Beyond distance, the sun's energy output is also finely controlled, providing just the right amount of heat and light required for life to flourish. It drives essential natural processes such as photosynthesis, which sustains plant life and by extension all food chains. It regulates weather patterns, seasons, and climate systems, all of which are necessary for agriculture and survival. Furthermore, the earth itself has been created with a perfectly balanced atmosphere that works in harmony with the sun. This atmosphere filters harmful radiation, while allowing beneficial light and warmth to reach the surface. It maintains a stable temperature range, and contains the precise mixture of gases required for life. The interaction between the sun and the Earth's atmosphere ensures that life is not only possible but sustainable. This intricate coordination between multiple systems, each dependent on the other, clearly indicates intentional design, not randomness, pointing to the absolute control and knowledge of Allah the Exalted. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 2.
And by the moon when it follows it.
The moon complements the role of the sun in a way that further demonstrates this perfect balance. By reflecting the sun's light, it provides a gentle illumination during the night, allowing people to continue essential activities such as travel and navigation. Historically, travelers relied heavily on moonlight to cross vast deserts and oceans, and even today, maritime navigation still benefits from lunar cycles. The moon's phases also serve as a natural system for measuring time, helping to organize human life into months and cycles. In addition, the gravitational pull of the moon plays a crucial role in controlling the tides of oceans and seas. These tides are not merely a natural phenomenon, but are essential for maintaining ecological balance. They regulate marine ecosystems, support the life cycles of countless sea creatures, and help in the distribution of nutrients within the oceans. Tides also contribute to climate stability by influencing ocean currents, which in turn affect weather patterns across the globe. Any disruption in the moon's position or function would lead to severe environmental consequences, demonstrating how delicately balanced this system is. Together, the sun and the moon operate in perfect coordination, establishing a system that sustains life in every possible way. Their precise movements, consistent patterns, and interdependent roles highlight a level of order that cannot be attributed to chance. Instead, they clearly point towards the existence of a single, all-powerful creator, Allah the Exalted, whose knowledge encompasses every detail of creation. The path and movement of the sun ensures that the earth receives a perfectly balanced cycle of light and darkness, a system essential for the continuation of life. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verses 3 to 4.
And by the day when it displays it. And by the night when it covers it.
The alternation between day and night is not random but precisely regulated, providing an ideal structure for life on Earth. The timing of daylight allows people to work, seek provision, and carry out their daily responsibilities, while the night provides a natural period for rest and recovery. This balance is essential not only for physical health, but also for mental well-being, as the human body is naturally aligned with these cycles. The variation in the length of days and nights throughout the year further benefits life, allowing for seasonal changes that support agriculture, regulate temperatures, and sustain ecosystems across different regions of the Earth. If this balance were disturbed, the consequences would be severe. Prolonged days would lead to exhaustion, overheating, and disruption in natural biological rhythms, making it difficult for people to function effectively. Conversely, extended nights would limit productivity, restrict movement, and hinder essential activities such as education and earning a livelihood. Similarly, shorter nights would deprive people of adequate rest, leading to long-term physical and mental health issues. Beyond human life, plants and crops depend heavily on the precise cycle of light and darkness. Any imbalance would negatively affect their growth, ultimately threatening the food supply for both people and animals. Moreover, this harmony extends far beyond the simple alternation of day and night. It reflects a wider system, in which countless elements of the universe operate in perfect coordination. The consistency of these cycles demonstrates stability, order, and precision, all of which point towards deliberate control rather than chance. If there were multiple creators with differing wills, such balance would not exist, as conflicting intentions would lead to disorder and instability. Instead, the flawless harmony observed in the cycles of day and night, and indeed throughout the universe, clearly indicates the oneness of Allah, the Exalted, whose perfect knowledge and control ensure that every aspect of creation functions in complete balance. Chapter 21, Al-Anbiya, verse 22.
Had there been within them, i.e., the heavens and earth gods besides Allah, they both would have been ruined.
When a person constructs even a simple building, careful thought, planning, and design are required. Structural elements, such as pillars, foundations, and supports, must be placed with precision in order to ensure stability and safety. Without this deliberate planning, the structure would quickly collapse or become unsafe. If such careful design is necessary for something as limited and small as a building, it is unreasonable to assume that something as great as the skies and the earth could come into existence by mere accident. If they were the result of chance, their structure would inevitably be flawed, unstable, and incapable of sustaining life. Yet, what is observed is the exact opposite, a universe operating with flawless precision and balance. This clearly points to the perfect planning and design of the Creator, Allah the Exalted. Chapter 91, Ash-Shams, verse 5.
And by the sky and what he constructed.
The construction of the sky itself reflects a level of order and complexity far beyond human capability. The vast expanse above is not empty or chaotic, rather, it is structured in a way that supports life on Earth. It regulates light, temperature, and protection from harmful elements, creating conditions that allow living beings to survive and flourish. The consistency of these systems demonstrates that the sky has been deliberately fashioned with purpose and wisdom, not formed through random processes. The celestial bodies within the sky further strengthen this reality. The stars which adorn the night sky are not scattered aimlessly but are positioned with precise order and function. For thousands of years, long before the development of modern tools, people relied on the stars for guidance. Travelers crossed vast deserts and oceans by observing their positions, while entire civilizations organized their calendars, agricultural cycles, and daily routines based on their movements. This reliability has persisted across generations, proving that their arrangement is not temporary or coincidental, but part of a stable and enduring system. Chapter 6, Al-An'am, verse 97.
And it is he who placed for you the stars that you may be guided by them, through the darknesses of the land and sea.
A closer study of the stars only deepens this understanding. Their movements follow exact and predictable patterns, repeating with precision year after year. Certain constellations appear at fixed times, marking the transition of seasons and guiding both travelers and farmers. The consistent position of specific stars has allowed navigation across vast and otherwise featureless landscapes, such as oceans and deserts. Even in modern times, scientific study depends on the reliability of these celestial patterns to measure time and understand the universe. Such precise order cannot reasonably be attributed to randomness. Chance does not produce consistent, reliable systems that sustain life and guide humanity across generations. Rather, this harmony reflects deliberate design, perfect knowledge, and complete control. The stars are therefore not merely objects of beauty, they serve as signs, tools, and reminders of a greater reality. Their presence inspires reflection, while their function reveals purpose. Together, they clearly indicate the existence of a Creator whose knowledge encompasses every detail, and whose wisdom is evident in every aspect of creation, namely Allah the Exalted. The land on earth has been formed with remarkable balance and suitability, allowing people to benefit from it in multiple ways at the same time. It provides a stable surface upon which homes, cities, and infrastructure can be built, while simultaneously offering fertile ground for agriculture and the cultivation of crops. This dual functionality is not chaotic or conflicting, rather, it exists in harmony, enabling human civilization to thrive. If the land were too unstable, excessively rigid, or unsuitable for cultivation, life as it is known would not be possible. This perfect suitability clearly reflects deliberate design and wisdom. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 6.
And by the earth and what he spread.
The spreading of the earth does not merely refer to its vastness, but also to how it has been made manageable and functional for those who inhabit it. Its surface has been proportioned in a way that supports movement, settlement, and productivity, allowing people to live, travel, and build with relative ease. When one reflects on the diverse landscapes of the earth, another layer of balance becomes apparent. The presence of varying altitudes, mountains, hills, plains, and valleys, demonstrates both diversity and purpose. Extremely high altitude regions are often difficult to inhabit due to thin oxygen levels and harsh environmental conditions. Yet, these areas do not dominate the planet. Instead, the majority of the Earth's surface exists at an optimal altitude that supports human life, agriculture, and development. This distribution ensures that while challenging terrains exist for specific ecological purposes, they do not prevent the general habitability of the planet. In addition, although certain regions are naturally difficult to access, such as dense jungles, steep mountain ranges, or remote polar areas, the vast majority of the Earth has been made accessible. Roads can be built, lands can be cultivated, and travel can be undertaken across most regions without extreme hardship. This accessibility allows people to utilize the resources of the Earth, build societies, and connect with one another. If most of the Earth were as inaccessible as its most extreme regions, human civilization would struggle to develop or even survive. Another clear sign of balance is found in the distribution and accessibility of natural resources. The Earth contains everything required for human survival, including water, fertile soil, minerals, and energy sources. More importantly, there is a clear pattern in how these resources are made available. The more essential a resource is for survival, the more accessible it tends to be. For example, air is freely available, water is widespread across the planet, and fertile land is abundant enough to sustain populations. In contrast, less essential or more specialized resources are often found in more limited or specific locations. This hierarchy of accessibility reflects wisdom and intentional provision, ensuring that basic human needs can be met with relative ease. All of these features, the balance of the land, the distribution of altitudes, the accessibility of terrain, and the availability of essential resources, work together in harmony. Such a finely tuned system cannot reasonably be attributed to randomness or coincidence. Instead, it clearly points to purposeful design and precise planning, indicating the existence of a creator whose knowledge and control encompass every aspect of the earth, namely Allah, the Exalted. Anyone who reflects sincerely upon the human body will recognize that its precise composition, the harmonious arrangement of organs, bones, senses, and internal systems, cannot be the result of chance. Every part of the human being has been proportioned with accuracy and purpose, functioning in coordination with countless other components. This balance is not static, but continuously maintained in a way that sustains life from moment to moment. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 7.
And by the soul and what he proportioned.
If one considers even the simplest human-made object, it becomes clear that it cannot come into existence without planning, knowledge, and effort. A basic structure requires a designer, materials, and ongoing maintenance to remain functional. Therefore, it is far more unreasonable to assume that the human being, with far greater complexity and sophistication, came into existence without a creator and continues to function without a sustainer. The human body operates through countless interconnected systems, each dependent on the other. The heart circulates blood, the lungs regulate oxygen, the brain coordinates thought and movement, and the immune system protects against harm. These systems do not function independently, rather they rely on precise timing and balance. Even a slight disturbance in this equilibrium, whether in temperature, blood composition, or organ function, can lead to illness or death. This delicate balance highlights not only careful design, but also continuous regulation. Beyond the physical body, the human being possesses mental and emotional faculties that are equally intricate. Memory, reasoning, emotions, and perception all function in ways that modern understanding has yet to fully comprehend. Despite advancements in knowledge, humanity still cannot fully explain or replicate the depth of these systems. This limitation further demonstrates that the one who created and sustains the human being possesses knowledge that is complete and unrestricted. Therefore, the existence, structure, and continuous functioning of the human body serve as clear signs of intentional design, perfect knowledge, and absolute power. They point unmistakably to a creator who not only brought human beings into existence, but also maintains them at every moment, Allah the Exalted. Allah the Exalted has not only created human beings and continuously sustains them, but He has also granted them clear guidance by distinguishing between the path of righteousness and the path of wrongdoing. This guidance is not left to guesswork or human speculation. Rather, it has been firmly embedded within revelation and supported by the natural disposition of the human soul. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 8.
And inspired it, with discernment of its wickedness and its righteousness.
This verse highlights that human beings are not left without direction. They have been given the ability to recognize, at a fundamental level, the difference between right and wrong. However, this internal awareness alone is not sufficient to navigate every situation in life, which is why divine guidance has been revealed to clarify, refine, and perfect this understanding. No matter how far societies advance, and regardless of how much knowledge they accumulate in fields such as psychology, medicine, or social sciences, they remain incapable of formulating a complete and flawless code of conduct. Human knowledge is inherently limited, constantly evolving, and subject to revision. What is considered beneficial in one era may later be recognized as harmful, and what is accepted in one society may be rejected in another. This instability demonstrates that human efforts alone cannot produce a universal system that aligns perfectly with human nature and adequately addresses every circumstance a person may face throughout their life. In contrast, Allah the Exalted possesses complete and perfect knowledge. He is the creator of human beings, and is fully aware of their inner and outer realities, their strengths and weaknesses, and the situations they will encounter across all times and places. His knowledge encompasses the past, present, and future without limitation. Therefore, He alone is of providing a code of conduct that is perfectly suited to human nature, one that distinguishes clearly between what is beneficial and what is harmful, and one that leads to true balance in both the mental and physical states of a person. This divine code of conduct not only defines right and wrong, but also guides individuals towards a life of harmony and purpose. It teaches them how to correctly use the blessings they have been granted, how to fulfill the rights of others, and how to prepare for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. When implemented sincerely, it results in the establishment of justice, compassion, and stability within both individuals and societies. History has repeatedly shown that whenever people adhered to divine guidance, they experienced a level of peace and order that could not be achieved through human systems alone. Therefore, it is essential for a person to accept and act upon this guidance, even when it conflicts with their personal desires or immediate preferences. Human desires are often short-sighted and influenced by emotion, whereas divine guidance is based on perfect wisdom and complete knowledge. A person should approach this guidance in the same way a wise patient approaches the advice of a skilled doctor. Even if the prescribed treatment is difficult, restrictive, or unpleasant, the patient trusts that it is ultimately for their benefit. In the same way, following the commands of Allah, the Exalted, may at times require sacrifice and restraint, but it ultimately leads to well-being, balance, and lasting peace in both worlds. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 9.
He has succeeded who purifies it.
Spiritual purification is not a passive or static condition. Rather, it is a continuous and active process that requires learning, reflection, and the practical implementation of Islamic teachings in everyday life. It demands conscious effort, discipline, and persistence. A person must actively strive to embody the noble qualities praised in Revelation, such as generosity, patience, humility, gratitude, and compassion, while at the same time working to eliminate destructive traits like pride, envy, greed, and arrogance. This process is not achieved overnight, but develops gradually through sincere effort and self-accountability. As these virtues are nurtured and harmful characteristics are removed, the heart becomes purified and the soul is elevated. This internal transformation naturally gives rise to tranquility, as true peace of mind is a direct result of living in accordance with divine guidance. When a person aligns their intentions, speech, and actions with what pleases Allah, the Exalted, they experience a sense of inner stability that cannot be achieved through worldly means alone. Furthermore, spiritual purification ensures that a person uses the blessings they have been granted, such as wealth, health, knowledge, and influence, in the correct manner. Instead of being misused or wasted, these blessings are directed towards gratitude, service to others, and sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This mindful and purposeful use of blessings prevents excess, carelessness, and harm, and instead transforms them into means of drawing closer to Allah, the Exalted. Through this process, a person attains balance in both their mental and physical states. They begin to place everything and everyone within their life in its proper position, fulfilling rights and responsibilities with fairness and wisdom. This balance not only preserves their worldly affairs, such as relationships, work, and personal well-being, but also ensures they are adequately prepared for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. A life built upon spiritual purification carries a dual reward. In this world, it brings clarity of thought, contentment of heart, and resilience in the face of trials and difficulties. A purified soul is not easily shaken by hardships, as it understands their purpose and remains anchored in faith. In the hereafter, this same purification becomes a means of attaining eternal peace and immense reward from Allah, the Exalted. Therefore, spiritual purification is far more than a personal improvement. It is the very foundation of true success in both this life and the next. It shapes a person's character, ensures that their blessings are used in ways that lead to righteousness, and secures lasting peace of mind. Through this ongoing process, a person not only transforms their inner self, but also builds a life that is aligned with divine purpose and destined for success in both worlds. In contrast, the one who neglects the purification of their spiritual heart and instead embraces destructive qualities such as greed, envy, and pride, will inevitably fall into a state of imbalance both mentally and physically. These harmful traits distort a person's perception and behavior, leading them to persistently misuse the blessings they have been granted. Chapter 91 Ash-Shams verse 10.
And he has failed who buries it.
Such an individual gradually loses the ability to maintain balance in their life. Their inner corruption reflects outwardly, causing them to misplace everything and everyone around them. Relationships, responsibilities, and priorities become disordered, and the very blessings that were meant to bring comfort, such as family, friends, career, and wealth, transform into sources of stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. As this state worsens, the person begins to misidentify the root of their problems. Instead of recognizing that their own disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, and misuse of blessings is the cause, they shift blame onto others, often targeting those closest to them, such as their spouse or family members. In doing so, they may distance themselves from or even sever ties with people who are, in reality, a source of support and goodness in their lives. This only deepens their isolation and intensifies their internal struggles. Over time, this pattern can escalate into severe consequences, including persistent stress, emotional instability, and mental health difficulties. In extreme cases, it may lead to destructive coping mechanisms such as substance abuse or even suicidal tendencies. This reality is not hidden. It can be clearly observed in many who outwardly possess wealth, fame, or status, yet inwardly suffer due to their continued misuse of the blessings they have been given. More importantly, this destructive path has consequences that extend far beyond this world. Because such a person failed to purify their heart and did not prepare for their accountability, they will face a far more severe outcome in the hereafter. Their neglect in this life, both in their inner state and outward actions, will manifest in a punishment that reflects the gravity of their choices. Therefore, the failure to purify the heart is not a minor shortcoming, it is a root cause of disorder in both worlds. It corrupts one's inner state, disrupts their external life, and ultimately leads to loss, distress, and severe consequences in the life to come. After highlighting signs within creation that clearly demonstrate the necessity of obeying Him, Allah, the Exalted, directs attention towards past nations so that people may draw deeper lessons from their outcomes. Chapter 91, Ash-Shams, verses 11 to 15.
Thamud denied their prophet by reason of their transgression, when the most wretched of them was sent forth. And the messenger of Allah Saleh said to them, "Do not harm the she-camel of Allah or prevent her from her drink." But they denied him and hamstrung her. So their Lord brought down upon them destruction for their sin, and made it equal upon all of them. And He does not fear the consequence thereof.
These verses serve as a powerful warning against adopting a self-absorbed and heedless lifestyle, where a person becomes so preoccupied with their own desires, ambitions, and circumstances, that they ignore the greater realities around them. When a person limits their perspective in this way, their heart becomes blind to the wisdom found in history, in the lives of others, and even in their own personal experiences. This blindness prevents growth, leading them to repeat the same mistakes and ultimately depriving them of true peace of mind. Reflecting on past nations, such as Thamud, reveals a clear pattern. When people persist in arrogance, transgression, and disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, their apparent strength, power, or stability cannot protect them from the consequences. Despite their capabilities and resources, they were destroyed because they misused the blessings they had been granted and rejected divine guidance. This demonstrates that success is not measured by worldly dominance, but by obedience to Allah, the Exalted. This lesson is not limited to ancient history. It is equally evident in the present world. When one observes individuals who possess wealth, fame, or influence, yet misuse these blessings, it becomes clear that such things do not guarantee happiness or tranquility. Many who outwardly enjoy luxury inwardly struggle with anxiety, depression, addiction, and deep dissatisfaction. This reality highlights that true peace of mind cannot be obtained through material success or the unchecked pursuit of desires, but only through correct conduct and obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Likewise, witnessing the trials of others, such as illness, hardship, or loss, should awaken a sense of gratitude within a person. It should encourage them to make proper use of the blessings they currently possess, such as health, time, and opportunities, before they are taken away. In this way, reflection transforms observation into action, guiding a person towards a more balanced and meaningful life. Therefore, Islam calls upon people to live with awareness and reflection rather than heedlessness. It encourages them to look beyond their immediate circumstances and to extract lessons from the world around them, whether from history, from the condition of others, or from their own experiences. Through this reflective approach, a person refines their character, avoids repeating destructive patterns, and achieves a balanced mental and physical state by correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. This, in turn, leads to lasting tranquility and success in both worlds. Therefore, a person must accept and act upon the teachings of Islam for their own well-being, even when these teachings contradict personal desires or immediate inclinations. This is comparable to a wise patient who follows the advice of their physician, understanding that the prescribed bitter medicines and strict dietary regimen are ultimately for their health and longevity. Just as the patient achieves physical and mental health through adherence to expert guidance, so too does a person attain balance and inner tranquility by embracing and implementing the guidance provided by Allah, the Exalted. The wisdom of society, no matter how advanced, cannot ensure the same outcome. Despite extensive research, medical interventions, and psychological advice, human knowledge is inherently limited. Society cannot foresee every challenge, resolve all forms of mental or physical stress, or perfectly organize the myriad aspects of a person's life due to constraints in experience, foresight, and inherent biases. Only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the complete knowledge required to harmonize the mental and physical states of humanity, and to place everything and everyone in its proper context within a person's life. He has granted this guidance through the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This truth is evident when observing the outcomes of those who follow Islamic guidance versus those who neglect it. While patients trust their doctors without fully understanding the science behind their prescriptions, Allah, the Exalted, invites people to reflect upon his teachings so that they may comprehend the wisdom and benefits behind them. He does not demand blind obedience. Instead, he encourages recognition of the truth of Islam through clear, observable evidence. However, this requires approaching the teachings with an unbiased, open mind, free from preconceived notions or resistance. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Furthermore, Allah, the Exalted, alone governs the human heart, the seat of peace of mind. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
By aligning their actions with divine guidance, they achieve a balanced mental and physical state, maintain proper relationships with all elements and individuals in their life, and prepare for accountability on the Day of Judgment. In this way, obedience to Allah, the Exalted, becomes the pathway to both worldly serenity and eternal reward. Chapter 16 and Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.